They've always had a system. They've always had a system. Homes it act a system. General order for resistance. HOLC system. Robin's airport resistance. Resistance. Black Wall Street resistance. DR New Deal assistance. Granddad off executive order is for. General order for the resistance. HOLC system. Robin's airport system. Black Wall Street resistance. FBA News Updates. Stand off executive order resistance. Early said it harder. About to experience at the early 70s, dreaming with aspirants at the early 1900s. That when niggas ruled for early 1900s, we were black and beautiful. We about to experience at the early 70s, dreaming with aspirants at the early 1900s. That when niggas ruled for early 1900s, we were black and beautiful. Homes that act a system. General order for the resistance. HOLC system. Robin's airport resistance. System. Black Wall Street resistance. FDR New Deal system. Went off executive order resistance. Early 70s, we like some respiration. Early 70s, dreaming with aspiration. Early 90s, early 90s, we were black and beautiful. We like some respiration. Early 70s, dreaming with aspiration. Early 90s, every nigga rules. Early 90s, we were black and beautiful.
Alrighty, right. Okay, so you know, I started the question. We all heard that it was a quote from the Dred Scott case that how did the quote go? I just had the damn thing. That brain freeze that fast. That a black man has no rights that the white man ought to respect. Something like that. I can't find that quote. I don't believe that's a real quote from the court case. You guys think? I cannot find that quote anywhere. And I can't say I put 100% effort, but I did put some effort in there. And that quote does not come up. So maybe that was a paraphrase or something like that. But I'm like, wow, like the court case never said that, like verbatim.
African Americans prioritize blackness isn't necessarily the same way in which an immigrant would prioritize their blackness. So, you know how African Americans would say, oh, black writer, black creator, black artist, black lawyer, black doctor, black woman in STEM. No, when we come to this country, it's immigrant or nationality, maybe our careers next, and then whatever else comes after that. So immigrant, Jamaican, marketer, whatever else comes after that. The issue that you're having is we don't see ourselves as one of you. And the reason that we don't see ourselves as one of you is not because of blackness. We just see ourselves as an outsider.
The issue that you're having is we don't see ourselves as one of you.
Enough said. No more need to explain there. I got it. So what I'm challenging the chat today is we heard from the Dred Scott case that the black man has no rights that the white man is bound to respect. But I can't find that quote anywhere. It looks like that's not a real quote from the case. It might have been like a paraphrase or something like that. But unless you guys can find that for me, but that quote is not a real quote so far. The Dred Scott case, the black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. Can't find that. Because it wouldn't make any sense when I know other cases similar to his, and they had a opposite result. I'm gonna get into that in a second. 1 million in reparations per FBA plus land contracts, FBA the lineage, descendants of those enslaved freedmen and black Indians. Yeah, from what I heard, it might be around like, just start off at 250, 350. It might be there to start off. You said, "Oh, right on cue." It's funny. Yeah, so go to Brown because it's not a real quote. That means that's not a real. Okay, because it ain't a real quote, that means different states can have different rulings on that same issue. You know, trying to sue for freedom. Different states can rule differently because that's not a universal rule. You dig? And that's where I'm getting to in a second. So let me do this first. I gotta do this. I forgot to do this yesterday.
Story on Long Island, where 3 employees of the Garden City DMV are among 7 people indicted in this elaborate cheating scheme.
Prosecutors say they helped applicants skip the required test, and one woman even wore disguises to impersonate test takers. All 7 are now facing felony charges.
There is a lot going on in this investigation, and Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager live now with the details in Garden City. Stacey.
Yeah, this is yet another bust on DMV employees giving out unauthorized license to random bunch of people. Like, what is the obsession with getting people on the road that shouldn't be on the road? That's crazy. This is another bust.
Well, Mike, we all know the DMV makes us go through certain tests to get our
Right.
driver's license, and to get a truck driver's license is harder, as it should be. Well, prosecutors say this was really an elaborate corruption scheme, and some of the workers at this DMV almost got away with it.
Deciding who gets to operate heavy rigs on our roads and highways is not
Family, what is the obsession to get illegals on the road in 18-wheelers, right?
something the New York Department of Motor Vehicles should take lightly.
Bypassing that safeguard is far from a harmless shortcut. It is a dangerous threat to public safety.
But that's exactly what prosecutors here in Nassau County allege in a 51-count felony indictment against 7 different people, including a supervisor at this DMV in Garden City, Kenesha Middleton, and her sister Jamie Middleton, allegedly taking at least 10 different permit tests for no-show drivers. You can see Jamie in surveillance pictures wearing different disguises, even fake facial hair, as she posed as a man who would be applying for a commercial driving permit. And she forgot to take off her fake nails.
I think it's pretty poor. The fingernails kind of
Oh my God, are you serious?
Who would be applying for a commercial driving permit. but she forgot to take off her fake nails.
I think it's pretty poor. The fingernails kind of gave it away.
So did another supervisor who acted as the whistleblower. Prosecutors say the defendants charged as much as $3,000 per permit test, 2 of them working these counters so they could wave the phony test taker through. 3 of the drivers who paid the fee ended up with commercial permits, but only 1 passed his road test. James Nurse, who ended up working here at the Town of Hempstead Recycling Center. He spent over a year and a half driving a truck.
A government employee, licensed only through a lie, driving a massive truck through our streets.
Back here at the DMV, where everyone else jumps through the usual bureaucratic roadblocks just to get a permit or real ID.
That is very disgusting.
It's not safe, so it shouldn't be allowed.
Although some more cynical, not at all surprised.
I understand why someone might do it. I understand the frustration in trying to do it legally. Then you know what? Maybe we'll put mustaches on and put funny hats on and try to go around and beat it that way. And for a while, by the way, it worked.
Yeah, well, now those workers are facing a host of charges, including felonies such as tampering with public records and impairing the integrity of a government licensing exam. Meanwhile, the town of Hempstead has put out a statement saying they have moved to fire that truck driver that worked for them because he was never qualified to do the job in the first place. We're live in Garden City. I'm Stacey Sager, Channel.
So those who new here, I've been covering this for the longest. Like so many busts, Florida, the name of the state. So many busts where DMVs like that are getting paid to give out phony licenses and CDLs. It's just crazy. If you look at the news, like so many people die, behind people who should never had a CDL. Oh, super chat. We not forget. We got Fresh always super chat and $1.999. Millennials love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Unfortunately, in June radio, that truck driver probably was, because it seemed like the ones who are getting into the accidents are the ones that's getting busted. Should have never had a license. Start with. So I had an early challenge here. I said that we've always heard from the Dred Scott case that it was concluded, like he lost his case because it was concluded that a black man don't have any rights that a white man is bound to respect. But I can't find that quote anywhere on the net. So it looked like we've been quoting a fake quote the whole time. It's probably a paraphrase, but it's not a direct quote from the case. So that means that there was no universal law among the states to abide by that. So a state might say no, Dred, but another state might say okay. Then I'm gonna give you case in point. Let me give you case in points. Okay, so I'm going to expose how contradictory, hypocritical, and regionally inconsistent the U.S. legal system was towards FBAs before the Civil War. You ready? So I'm going to look at 2 cases side by side. We're going to look at Dred Scott, 1857. And right before that one was Biddy Mason, 1856. Now, both were FBAs who sued for freedom in U.S. courts, but their cases had opposite outcomes, right? As you know, Dred Scott lost, but you might not know Biddy Mason won. Watch this. So Biddy Mason, California, Dred Scott, Missouri. Okay, so let's go with Dred Scott. So Dred Scott was enslaved in Mississippi right, which was a slave state. His enslaver took him to Illinois, and then the Wisconsin territory. So both free under the Missouri Compromise, right? Scott sued, arguing that his residence on free soil made him a free man. Okay, Supreme Court, Chief Justice Roger B. Taney delivered the infamous opinion, right? An opinion. The Negro has no rights which the white man is bound to respect, right? So that was his opinion. All right, so let me make sure that's the actual quote. But now we got it. Who said it? Okay, let's see. Let me look that up. Second, we'll make sure that's a quote. Yeah, like that. Even that's not on the net. Yeah, no. The Dred Scott won in local courts. He lost in Superior. So we're gonna get to that. So it's set. Let me see. Hold on. Chief, his name is Chief Justice Roger B. Taney. All right, let me just make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure my information I give y'all is right and exact. As you can see, Roger B. Taney was a controversial Chief Justice of the United States who served from 1836 to 1864. He is most infamous for delivering the majority opinion in the Dred Scott versus Sanford case, which declared that that wasn't there. It was Negroes. That Negroes cannot be citizens and that the government could not ban slavery in the territories, a ruling that deepened sectional divides and intense the conflict. And see, where's the quote? Let's try to find it. Maybe there. So this ain't there. That word wasn't no such thing. It was Negroes. See, so we're looking at it, and that quote is not there. Whether enslaved or free, we're not citizens. See, yeah, it's not there. A black man has no rights, or a Negro has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. We don't see that quote on the net. I don't know who the author of that. Peace to the family, to the lineage. All right, but let's go because I'm about to drop something. All right. So Taney, all right, Taney, Chief Justice Roger B. Taney ruled that black people enslaved or free were not and could not be citizens. So that was the ruling. It was not the whole no respect of rights. Okay. That black people enslaved or free were not and could not be citizens of the United States under the Constitution. Okay, that's because Scott was not a citizen. Nobody before 1868 was a citizen. Dred Scott had no legal standing to sue in federal court. So if that's true with him, wouldn't that be true with Biddy Mason? Because she was a year before him, 1856. Anyway, the court also struck down the Missouri Compromise, declaring Congress had no authority to prohibit slavery in the territory. So this is before the Civil War, and you see the federal government it had no real power. So when the Union won with our help, they put more respect on the federal government name after that. And then after the Great Depression, that's when the government really kicked in full force. Hold on. Give me a second. Do I have a video? All right. Give me a second, family. 1 second.
A Pan-African utopia will never happen as long as many Africans that have colonized mentally is a Pan-African pipe dream. Question. How many Black Americans have been colonized mentally? You see, if we don't fight the mental colonization, none of us survive. That's just the fact. But if we're here in the US, how do we know how many Africans are mentally colonized? Because if the people that are in positions of power have been handpicked by, you know, these wicked people that are waging war against Blackness, then that would mean that the people that they are oppressing will likely be individuals that we can work with. So I think as Black Americans, we have the opportunity and we're in a position to lead the Black diaspora. So like, because I mean, if we're in one of the richest nations in the world, then we should definitely be.
I'm back. Let me cook on this. All right.
Trying to see how much smaller it is.
All right. So I'm gonna show the contradiction. And right, and we're gonna learn something today together. Right. So don't misquote from the Biddy Mace from the Dred Scott case ever again that there was a universal ruling that the Negro has rights, don't have any rights. The white man's bound to respect. That's fake. Right, because I'm gonna show you. So if you're gonna put some respect in our name. So again, the court also struck down the Missouri Compromise, declaring Congress had no authority to prohibit slavery in the territories, right? So the federal government legally enshrined Black inferiority. It was a national ruling binding across all states, free or slave. So it declared that Blackness erased citizenship, regardless of location. Okay, so now we're gonna look at Biddy Mason's case. So Dred Scott's 1857, Missouri. Biddy Mason, you will hear she say her name a lot. 1856, she's 1856, Los Angeles County Court. So when I learned about Biddy Mason, and people will quote the Dred Scott case and say, nah, see, Dred Scott lost because the Negro had no rights that a white man's bound to respect. I'd be looking like, well, why did Biddy Mason win? What rights did she have that they respected that she won? You feel me? So because, I look at myself as a YouTube journalist, I do like research. So when I find something to contradict something else, I'll be like, well, what about this? And people just don't have nothing to say. Like, yeah. All right. Anyway, Biddy Mason was an enslaved woman owned by Robert Marion Smith, a Mormon, who brought her from Mississippi to California and Utah. Those Mormons. Okay, so California entered the Union as a free state in 1850, meaning slavery was illegal there. Okay, so Smith tried to move Mason back to Texas to re-enslave her, but she resisted. That's why the song, hold on. Hence the song. Family, that's why the song is called Resistance. All right, hold on. Listen. Listen to the lyrics.
They've always had a system. They've always had a system. Hoes it acting system. General order for resistance. HOLC.
All right, so in case you didn't understand the song, I was trying to explain it. Let me do Lineage roll call real fast. Peace to Golden Brown, Tandria Williams, Claus Van Dam. I am sixth. We got Timothy in the building. We have who else we got in the building? Yeah, thumb it up, family. Thumb it up, thumb it up. Alex, we were late today. Had a lot of running around to do. Alexis buried. 420 Alien Age. Needle Swain. In June Radio in the building. Who else? We got songwriter Sunny, Maurice Brooks, Fresh Always, Black Feather Archery, JJ Mars in the building. We got Wrath Love TV or Roth Love TV, Roth Love TV in the building. All right. We got Shadow 1SD in the building. Earlier, Fresh Always gave a $9.99 super chat, Lineage Love donation. Appreciate that. Salute to you for that. And FBA Convo was in the building at one point. All right. I know some people come in and just, say what's up and they bounce. It's all good. We still appreciate you. Okay. We got Jaquan 007 in the building. All right. Okay. 1 second. I sent Alexis says, let me see. She said she sent the super chat, got charged for super chat, but it didn't show. All right. Well, thank you anyway. Let me see if I can see it. I got to go to my account. I go to my account. I'll see it. Hold on. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Okay. Yeah, we had a nosy person sitting right there, trying to see what I'm talking about. All right. So I stalled him out, Debo. I stalled him out. All right, let me check out for Alexis Berry if it went through on my end. Cause maybe it'll come back to you if it didn't. I don't know how it works, but yeah, so on my end, it didn't come through. There. Yeah, so my end, it didn't come through. All right. So let me get back to where I was. It was nosy person looking at me. All right. So the Mormon guy tried to get slick and move Biddy Mason back to Texas to re-enslave her, but she resisted. All right. And that's why the song is called Resistance. All right. So she resisted and petitioned for habeas corpus, a freedom suit. Okay, so this decision 1 year before Dred Scott in 1856, Judge Benjamin Hayes ruled in her favor. So it looked like we do have some rights the white man is bound to respect. You dig? So he ruled in her favor, declaring Mason and her children legally free. Why she won? State law. California was a free state by law, but so was Missouri Compromise. Once an enslaved person was voluntarily brought onto California soil, that person became free by operation of law. But that's the same thing that was supposed to happen for Dred Scott. Jurisdiction. It was a state level decision, not a federal one. Oh, that's the difference. Okay, so Biddy Mason, now we got it. Biddy Mason, it was a state level decision, not a federal one. Dred Scott case was federal and became a national precedent. Biddy's was local and decided under California's constitution, which prohibited slavery. So her decision came 1 year before the Dred Scott case, before the Dred Scott decision. the U.S. Supreme Court had not yet issued its national declaration denying black citizenship. Okay, so there we go. So Dred Scott case had hit the fan. Biddy Mason didn't. California judges were not eager to enforce Southern pro-slavery law in their free state. So Mason's freedom came because California recognized state-level black rights, while Dred Scott case was doomed because the federal court system denied black personhood altogether. You see it? That's why our claim got to be federal. You see, the state said, nah, you good. But the federal government said, no, 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 no. We got to set precedent, right? So now we know a lot more of why Biddy Mason won and why Dred Scott didn't win. Because I always thought about that. I said, why? If we don't have no rights that white man's bound to respect, then why did Biddy Mason win her case and Dred Scott lost his? Now I understand. Okay. So Dred Scott lost because his claim challenged national white supremacy at a federal level. So he took it because he won statewide, and then they overturned it, which led to the federal Superior Court. So his claim challenged national white supremacy at a federal level. Taney's court wanted to preserve the political power of slaveholders. Biddy Mason won because California exercised its state sovereignty to reject slavery within its own borders. So in short, federal law protected white slave owners. State law in California didn't care. Okay, so the Dred Scott decision was a pro-slavery political bombshell meant to expand slavery into all territories and protect white dominance. The Biddy Mason decision was part of the free soil and abolitionist movements, right? Small victories, especially in Western states, wanting distance from Southern politics, right? So Taney, the judge in the Supreme Court, 1857, ruling over Dred Scott, slaveholding Marylander, invested in protecting the South's political order, and Judge Hayes in California, 1856, a Southern-born jurist, but one living in a newly free state where slavery had little economic base or social support. His ruling was out of racial compassion. It aligned with California's legal identity and political optics as a free state. So there you go. So overall, they were not simply uniform in their racism, how we trying to make it to be like with the blackity black talk. It varied by region, profit motive, and politics. And that's what I was trying to explain to Miss Proper T yesterday. What's her name? Miss T? Which I might play some clips of her. All right. So I was trying to explain her because she's doing a whole monolith thing. They, them, the devil. It's like, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, so the Dred Scott case proved that black people had no rights that a white man was bound to respect, but Biddy Mason case proved that it depended on which white man you asked and what his state's economy looked like. Okay, now, as a result, of course, Dred Scott ended up getting his freedom via the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship, and Biddy Mason later became one of Los Angeles' first black landowners and philanthropists. Okay, so ironically using the same land-based wealth system, property, equity, legacy that black Americans were denied under federal policy for another century. So yeah, Biddy Mason was very, very rich as a realtor or into real estate market. Very, very rich. She got put on game by another free black man. I forgot his name, but it's a great story. Check out that in my archive videos, family. I got one on her, Biddy Mason. Okay, so now let's get into, let's finish up, actually. Let's finish up from last night, because I ain't gonna lie, I was getting kind of sleepy. So we're gonna finish up this recap, and then We're gonna go here next. No, not there. I'll find it. All right, let's go.
How is police so no answer over police? Well, how is it over police though?
Exactly.
How is it over police? Over police based off of what?
Well, based off nothing.
But you're saying that the white area, the middle income area has the same amount of crime. It doesn't. You're trying to make the case that white people are committing crime at the same rate as blacks, not even remotely.
Okay, let's go back. So now
it's not even remote.
Hold on. Hold on. Let's see. So the war on drugs. Who use and sell drugs more, whites or blacks?
Well, where's the evidence that white people use drugs the same? Because again, I know where you're going. You're about to tell me about these studies that say that white people use drugs at the same rate. The problem is that these studies they're not scientific. They're just studies. They're hearsay. Basically, how they come to this conclusion. I'm about to let you know how they come to the conclusion is that they would do a survey. They would ask people.
So what he did was he just dismissed researchers. Now he's the same guy that'll read the FBI files. That's not scientific. So now that I'm using stats like he did, he dismissed the stats because they're not scientific. This is unbelievable.
But not drug treatment rehab centers and such.
Well, wait. Okay, let's use that same. Wait. Let's. I know where you're going. Remember, but remember, you stopped me because you know where I was going. I'm gonna stop you. Know where you're going. Okay, so how does the FBI get their data?
From police stations.
Okay, now
they compile data from police stations.
Hold on. So now, and also there's other private entities that also take these stats and FBI get their information as well. Now, the police stations are a lot of crime. Isn't it reported? FBI reports a lot of crimes in white neighborhoods are underreported.
Are they underreported? Based off of what?
According to the same FBI crime data thing that you claim you're looking at, didn't they say that a lot of crimes in white neighborhoods go underreported?
More likely to be relying on public
for the same crime.
Are they underreported? Based off of what?
According to the same FBI crime data thing that you claim you're looking at, didn't they say that a lot of crimes in white neighborhoods go underreported?
Yeah, I would say so. But then when you also see that a lot of crime in a black community also go unsolved and unreported because there's no snitch attitude.
Now look,
no snitch doesn't.
But you can't ask a question and then if you ask, I don't know if you're asking rhetorical questions or you're asking.
Okay, well, how what's the rate of crime that's being unreported? And for you to say that, because I guarantee you, there's nobody living in the middle income area that's fear for their life the way they would fear the hood, not even remotely. So the fact.
Who in the bill? So we got Nani Williams. We have Carrie Wright. All right. Okay. Let's go.
That you're trying to make this argument.
Well,
is about ridiculous.
I mean, actually, your counter is ridiculous because you keep talking about, you keep trying to reduce the conversation. Well, for one, you said you're looking at the FBI crime stats. You didn't say you're looking at the FBI fear stats or the FBI murder stats or the FBI violent crime stats. You said you're looking at.
I look at all the stats.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I'm doing, but you keep trying to pin me back to murder and violent crimes. I'm considering crime. I'm considering the
FBI tracked 31 different categories.
Okay.
I'm not cherry picking. I'm talking about total crime. The FBI tracked 31 different categories. Of those 31 different categories, there's only.
So now remember. So now the FBI data is good. Remember earlier when I used it, he said, no, it's not scientific. Like what? And of course, no data, data like that is going to ever be scientific. But he dismissed. Family, it's just so confusing debating with certain people. If I read the FBI facts, I'm sorry, if I read the FBI stats, they're no good because they're not scientific. But he can read them and they're good even though they're not scientific. Like I'm just like kind of lost. Like, okay, this is new. Now he's coming back on. He's gonna come back on probably next week while my son is in school because Monday's a holiday, so he will be in school Tuesday. So I will be by myself finally, you dig, and I'm gonna have him pull up Tuesday.
Two, in which white people, the white column commit crimes at a higher rate than the black. But understand that, the white column outnumbers the black column nearly 6-1. So,
so now let's go ahead, because when somebody commit a crime, isn't the goal to arrest them?
Yes.
Charge them and then convict them, right? Get them convicted.
Yes.
Okay. Why are blacks and whites being arrested, charged for the same crime, the same rap sheet, the same beginning, single parent, on drugs, high school dropouts? Why, considering all of that, black folks, I believe, are still got a more harsher sentence, got a mandatory minimum sentence, are less likely? Well, hold on, let me just get it all out. Less likely to get the charges reduced, less likely 6-1, I believe, less likely to get their some type of leniency. Why do we have harder, harsher, larger, longer sentences than white folks with the same background profile and with the same criminal offense? Go.
Okay. Well, first of all, what you're doing is you're giving a lot of racist rhetoric, a lot of rhetorical statements that black people use. Matter of fact, I've done a video on this that's basically more
family. What he just said was, "Oh, you just using talking points of the black community." Like, dude, can you just answer my question?
time for the same crime narrative. It's false. It's a false narrative. Because there's several reasons. I remember the reason where they get this from, the study that they get it from, said that pretty much the charges, the fact that blacks get a higher crime, both time the same crime is legitimate. But there's several reasons. The number one reason why black people get more time the same crime because of black people commit crime at a higher rate than white people. And statistically speaking, a black person who basically uses.
Gotta pause it because family, he didn't hear my question at all. I said two people, black and white, same crime, same upbringing, single parent home, both on drugs, same criminal record. Why one gets a longer sentence than the other? That's all. And he's going somewhere else.
Stands for a judge. Usually stands for a judge with a longer criminal arrest record on average than a white person. Something that's taken into consideration with sentencing.
Now, I talked about
that's just one reason. That's one reason.
No, but
if you got
you said something different than what I said. I said the same.
No, okay, well let me. Yeah.
The same criminal background, basically identical. Why is the black guy getting a longer sentence or charges less likely to be dropped and or reduced? Everything's the same.
So everything is the same based off of what? See, I need to know how to get these studies, because then also that's just.
So family, he needs to know how to get these studies now. Now, look, this is the same FBI data that he's reading. Now all of a sudden he needs to know how they come to that. Family, they know they have nothing. You see what I did to him? I'm making him question the data, the stats that he's reading. Now all of a sudden, first he said they weren't scientific. What? Now he said, I need to know how they come up with these data stats. That's what he's saying. Ain't that what I said about the underreporting? I said the same thing, right? And he looked like, no, they're honest. Now all of a sudden they're not honest. He needs to know how these stats are accumulated.
One reason why black people get more time for the same crime, because black commit crime at a higher rate. Another reason why black gets time, but let me explain to you.
Family, he's not answering the question again. Like he's talking about, generically. He's saying like as a collective. I didn't ask a collective question. I said individually. This black guy, that white guy. No simple. And he's going lineage versus lineage. That's not the question, buddy.
To you. Another reason why black people get both types of same crime is because black people tend to commit high crime rates clustered in hoods, in which are typically impoverished areas where you have a bunch of people committing crime in a small area who are more likely to be relying on public officials who are not going to
do white folks live in those same? Okay, watch this. Do white people live in those same hood areas as black folks? Do some? Do not a lot, but do some.
Some, but not a whole lot.
Okay, but doesn't matter.
You talk about areas that have high crime rates like white.
Yes. Yeah. No. Listen, I'm saying.
I mean, like black community.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm saying the black community. Okay. I'm saying those same white folks, when they get locked up for the same criminal behavior, the same criminal activities as their black co-descendants, why do they get a shorter sentence? That's what the research is doing. Why do they get a shorter sentence?
The research is based on an average. The research is based on an average, a national average, not one specific white person. It's a national.
Of course not. I was doing the one specific white person, but remember Tarina, she pointed out in First 48, the white guy said, "Hey, I don't gangbang. I'm a white boy." His charges got dropped, by the way, and other folks who was in his position after and before him, they all got locked up and charged along with everybody else, the all-in-one charge. But his charges got dropped. He didn't get charged at all. They let him just go. That's the case in point.
It's not one, but I'm pointing out to the. You keep saying
it's a national average.
Right.
But
hey, if somebody had that link where Tariq Nasheed had reposted the white dude was like, "Hey, I'm a white boy. I don't gangbang." If y'all got that link, put it in the chat. I would love to use that and bookmark that and clip it.
You're telling me a white person.
I'm using. Listen. Hold on. I'm not telling you anything. I'm using, and I'm trying.
Yeah, I couldn't have asked him about that for Lane because he was so fixated on violence, right? So he wanted to talk about violence. But next when he pull up next week, I'm gonna definitely go there with him because Medium Man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play Medium Man video. Like he made a great video on this right here that I'm gonna play it. Like it shows exactly what you just said for Lane. It shows you, hey, anybody can play with the numbers and make anybody look crazy. Because like you said, what you said with child predators. Okay, well, if what you're saying is true, CLR, then what you're saying is that we're just more violent. So be careful around these violent people. But when you look at the stats that affect them largely, which is the child predator thing, so then we should conclude, hey man, keep your children away from white men. So exactly what Forlane just said. But when I play Medium Man, he's going to explain a little better.
Trying to draw a picture. When I say black criminals, you keep comparing the hood to the suburbans, right? The suburbs. And I'm saying, no. You got to think about the white people who are actually in the hood with black people who are living a criminal, lifestyle as black people. When they get locked up for the same crime, charge, murder, whatever, they are also getting a shorter sentence than those people black folks in the same hood. I said, how do you explain that?
Well, my question is
now, family, you see how quick I land my plane? I make a coherent point, I stop and let them go.
Are you saying that these white people that's right next to the black person, they both commit the same crime, they stand before the same judge, and the white person gets a lesser sentencing based off of what? Is that based off a national average? They just average all the crimes together.
Listen. I didn't say that.
How did they come to that conclusion that the white person living in the hood with black folks committing the same crime gets a shorter sentence? How did they?
Okay, good question. Yeah, you see, family. Now I got on backtracking saying, well, how did he come to that? So now he want to question the numbers and how they come up with stuff. All right. Okay. So now we want to know how they come up with it. Like, dude, okay. I mean, what are we doing? So what's that going to change? So when I share and expose how they come up with it, are you going to accept it now? Of course he's not, because then he's cooked. But the HHS 2022 studies whites and blacks use illicit drugs at nearly identical rates. Yet FBAs are 4 times more likely arrested. That's the FBI UCR. Okay. So apparently meth labs in Iowa are invisible. Only weed in Baltimore glows on political radar. Okay. So we, weed dealers, like weed in your pocket, there's nowhere to hide that. It's like the Batman signal. But the meth, it just like white folks the cops just don't see it. Or again, HHS studies, I think that's Homeland 2022. Whites and blacks use illicit drugs at nearly identical rates, but we are 4 times more likely arrested nationally. It's FBI. When the FBI do a stat, it's usually national. That is literally systemic racism.
You come to that conclusion.
So check it out. They checked off all the variables. Now I could give you the studies. You didn't give me one, but I could give you all the studies where they checked off the variables. They filtered, right? They seen, so the studies are based on white people with the same criminal offenses. Okay.
All right, so now let me get a study now. Because when we was talking, I never met that guy day in my life. We're just winging it. We're just freestyling. But anyway, listen. U.S. Sentencing Commission 2022. Listen to me, family. After controlling for prior arrests, but we still receive 19% longer federal sentences. You heard what I said? After controlling for prior, that means both of us got priors, and they're same shit. Harvard 2021 prosecutors 2 times less likely to offer. I'm sorry, this is a Harvard study. Hold on. Make sure I'm not on mute. Okay, so this is a Harvard study in 2021. Prosecutors are 2 times likely to offer plea bargains, 2 times less likely. Let me take that back. Harvard is a Harvard study in 2021. Prosecutors are 2 times less likely to offer plea bargains to black defendants. Same crime, same rap sheet, different pigment, different penalty. Family, what he's asking for is just stupid. Same, but I got him. Because when he come back Tuesday, I'm going to have everything laid out right then. And then he's going to question, well, how they come up with this? Then I'm going to have that right there too. He's a weird guy. So 2 times less likely to offer plea bargains to black defendants who are charged with the same crime. They have the same rap sheet, drugs, stealing, whatever, robbery. They both got that. But because they come from different ethnic groups, it's a different penalty.
Same background. So these are all filtered off to make sure they look at just this. These white people, this study was based on, these white people got on average, a shorter sentence, charges reduced or charges dropped. It wasn't even close to black people. Can you explain that?
Okay, sure. You talking about only the white people that live in the hood is what you're saying?
Brother, I just gave an example of, okay.
What I'm saying is, because I'm trying to, are they talking about just the white people that live in the hood? Or like I say, how did they come to that conclusion?
So,
did they do a national? Are they comparing national average of the whole nation? Or are they just comparing white people that live in the hood and only white people that live in the hood?
Okay, so I'm trying.
Because what I'm saying is, if you give me national averages, obviously it's going to be construed.
Brother,
if like I say, for instance, if you're comparing the crime rates and the average conviction rates of all white people in the whole entirety of the country, is going to be construed compared to just black or just white people that live in the hood. So is that study based?
Anyway, fast
uneven.
forward.
And this is just the American responsibility. You know, we are a country built on supposedly equality and fairness in 2025 with a blind justice system. So when we see, I heard somebody say, don't get me lying, but somebody said tyranny somewhere is tyranny everywhere. Okay, so and the Bible says a little lump will leaven the whole, a little leaven will leaven the whole lump. So sure, stop committing crime. I see the same thing, bro. I really try to preach excellent behavior. So I'm with you on that. You shouldn't be committing crime to even be in that boat, right? I agree with you. But unfortunately, people are gonna make bad decisions. And all I'm saying, when people make those bad decisions, they should have a fair shot at justice, and they shouldn't be their sentence shouldn't be impacted because of the ethnic group and background. But let's move away from crime, because you're right. So at the end of the day, I'm going to say yes, stop committing crime. Now, how about loans, bank loans?
Watch this one, family.
They're not
Watch this one.
They're looking for a bank loan for a mortgage or something else, maybe a business. Now, same thing, black and white, same profile, same credit profile. Both are impeccable. Why do you have black folks 80% less likely to get the loan over a white person? Same profile, same job, same everything, bro. Go ahead. Okay, same savings. Explain that.
Okay. Assuming that, like I say, because they say studies, I just need to know how they conducted these studies and what methodology that they use. Okay, so you're telling me these same people with the same credentials, they're getting the same loan from the same type of institution to use for the same thing, to use in the exact same place for the exact same reason, and the white people are getting rejected for the loan at high rates.
You know what? Let me get that for you. Matter of fact, I'll stop being lazy.
No, I'm saying because when you say a study, I just need to know how the study was conducted.
Okay, cool.
Family, just to save some time. 2023 Urban Institute, black applicants denied at 2 times the rate of whites with identical credit, identical income, and identical loan purpose. Okay, bro, that's just redlining. Lenders use zip code proxies. It's modernized redlining. I mean, I need this, I need that. Dude, it's okay, man. It's okay. So the credit score, your credit score is the new color line. All right, it just comes with decimals instead of slurs, Negro and that. But look at what he needs now. He needs the breakdown of how the stats were accumulated, all of that. But when he lied and said 13% of the population commits 50% of the murder, he didn't go into how they came to that conclusion. Like he was lying, first of all. But he didn't come to that. He didn't show how they got those stats, and no, he just said take it or leave it, because he cherry picked something, misrepresented it, and said, hey, it says this, so it must be true. So I'm like, okay, fine, must be true. So now let me read off some things too, and they said this now must be true. Same source, or sources just as credible. But this is what happens when you debate delusional people who don't really have a good argument. Like just bad at just debating.
Like what criteria did they use with methodology? Because all I know is this, that a black person in America wants to get a loan, they can get a loan. And I know also that black people have credit ratings that's worse than whites.
Yeah, but I wasn't.
I know y'all claim y'all account for all these things, but I need to know how they accounted for it. I mean, if black people have worse credit ratings than white people, then you can't claim that they're rejected for loans at a high rate.
Okay.
I mean, Native Americans have the worst credit ratings and they get rejected the most. Asian people have the best credit ratings and they get approved more than white people.
Okay. So now you said, what am I looking at? Okay, so according to the Federal Reserve and Urban Institute.
So family, I went and got some stats from him, right? He wanted me to source up. Hey, now watch this. He's going to move the goalposts.
Okay. Black applicants are twice as likely to be denied loans compared to white applicants, even after controlling for credit scores, income, debt to income ratios, loan size.
Okay, so all that things, income and place, the type of loan, the type of institution that they go to, what they plan on using the money for, where they plan on using the money for, all those things are also controlled for.
All right.
All the same.
This move.
Because these are all factors. I mean, the type of
Look, I just read, I said, Urban Institute 2023, Black applicants are denied 2 times the rate of whites with identical credit, identical income, and identical loan purpose. So the same purpose they use the loan for, whether it's a house, business, both of us are using it for the same reason, and we're still 2 times more likely to be denied. Okay, and that's why I said, hey, let's just move on, because like this is my first debate with a coon conservative. So I just want to just feel, it's like a fill out debate, because at this time I was preparing for Candace Owens or like a Myron.
that you go to matter.
All right.
What's the risk tolerance of the institution that you go to, that you're going to?
Mm-hmm.
All of these things are variables in giving loans.
I understand.
The fact is all I know is that Black people have worse credit ratings, far worse credit ratings than white people. So I would say, if you are a Black person, focus on your credit rating. Do the things that make your credit get better, to get better. What do I want to achieve?
All right, so last question.
I just want to add something. I like to use the high school senior analogy. Let's say there's a Black high school senior in school today that wants to be an engineer. What's stopping them from being?
Money that was stolen from us. But let me ask you this. This is the last thing.
Well, you can get loans.
But we're not getting loans at this rate. But look, let me ask you this.
Black folks are getting student loans, but they got Black kids in college getting credit cards. What are you talking about?
All right, last question. And you know I was going to ask this, right? Because it's one of Tariq's main talking points. How do you feel about reparations for Black people? Foundation Black people.
My question, the question I have for reparations is repair you back to where, you know, the root word of reparations is to repair, restore, right?
Yeah.
Okay, repair you back to what? If Black people came to America as slaves and now you're free, what exactly do you want to be restored back to?
Okay.
What can you be restored back to other than a slave?
You had a question.
Like, what can you be restored to other than a slave? And also,
hold on.
Y'all want reparations? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I got to address some things. Okay, so reparations by definition ain't what you just said. Reparations is to reconcile a past harm. Hold on. No, that's your definition. But the definition of reparations is to repair a past harm. You just made something up. I'm giving you the definition of reparations. Now, hold on. So the person who is harmed in the past, they work it out, or a court system or whatever, they work it out how this repairment is going to proceed. Now, some folks might ask for certain things, and other folks might ask for other things. Okay. But it's no different than like a lawsuit when somebody was harmed, even, you know, by someone, a car or whatever, a brick fell in your head. So you can say, hey, I lost a job, you know, all these things can be considered in your lawsuit. So reparations for the Jewish people, brother, were they returned back to Germany when they got their reparations?
Yeah, well, I would say maybe I probably went to Israel. Did they go to Israel, I believe?
Yeah, but were they? No. Oh wait, hold on. Were they in Israel when they got Holocaust? When they see okay, so they're okay, right. So you said repair is to repair you where you once were. So now Jewish people, they got reparations, but they didn't go back to Germany. Now, are you against their reparations? I don't know. Are you?
Well, I mean, the people who personally suffered, yeah, they got. The people.
They're still getting. Wait, hold on. They're still getting paid today. So those people did.
Well,
and they're still getting paid today.
What agreement was made though? But they got it when those people were still alive though. Okay, so what agreement was made?
Hold on, bro.
What agreement was made?
Stop. Did those Germans pay them reparations?
Yeah, the people who personally went through the Holocaust, who were still alive at the time. So you're saying those people are still dead, but they got it when they were alive?
Okay, so
Did they not receive the reparation when they were alive?
Wait, yeah, they did. Hold on. Who enforced them to pay them reparations? Who enforced that? Did they win in a German court? So what I'm saying is, okay,
I have no idea.
Okay.
When they were still alive, when they got it.
All right, but hold on, because you like to use context, because you've been doing that all day, and you like to go to nitty gritty.
The family, I'm gonna cook them on that next time, because the descendants also so people who are not alive, they also got reparations from the Germans. So descendants of the survivors, or descendants from those who passed, got. So I'm gonna cook him. He was all over the place. He was down a lot of rabbit holes that you can see, a lot of talking points. But I got him. Don't worry. So what I want to do is bring you here. I want to bring you here. Watch this one.
Doing bad habits. So you would have.
All this is just a credit rating. It's a credit rating.
I got you.
Okay, so he kept saying this. Let me bring it to speed. He kept saying our bad habits. Black people bad habits should result in bad things like punishment and sentences and being shot, whatever. He kept saying bad behavior deserves bad consequences. He kept saying that. And look how I got him.
It's just the area credit rating.
I got you. I heard you 10 times. So Soul City, was that, did that city fail? In the 1970s, so now we're going past, we're going to the civil rights era. Because you said redlining, stop doing bad habits. So you would agree that when black folks were being excluded from things and being discriminated against up until 1968, do we agree that black folks were not doing anything bad? We didn't have bad behavior. It was white folks with bad behavior who were discriminating us, right, against the.
Yes, back then it was racist.
Okay.
Today it's not.
Okay. Wait.
Yes, it was. I agree.
Okay. So for 100 years, from 1862 all the way to 1968, about a little over 100 years, do you agree that white people, as far as the system, had bad behavior, stripping black folks, depriving us, undermining us, sabotaging us, making sure we started from zero about the time the Civil Rights Act started? Do you agree with that? That bad behavior caused that?
Yeah, but it's not bad behavior that caused your area to be redlined. There's certain criteria that would make your community
my question was
horrible place to invest in.
No, that wasn't my question. My question was focused on white people and systemic racism. What I was saying was, so I'm not talking about black folks just yet. I'm saying from 1862 to 1968, would you agree that white people as a collective had that bad behavior, and you will agree that the government, right, the national and state government and all other systems collectively, white people as a collective, had that bad behavior for 100 years? 1862, 1968.
Yeah, so you saying that because they had the bad behavior, they should have the same output as blacks today?
They should have, they should have a worse output.
Oh, well, okay, well, no, because here's the thing again, it's the type of bad behavior I'm talking about.
Okay, so family, I just cooked me. So I said, now you're telling me if a person, what are you doing? What are you doing? So he seen it coming and he tried to get ahead of me. So he kept saying our bad behavior is supposed to produce ratchet, results, the hood, poverty, welfare. That's because that's what bad behavior produces. So I said, well, you disagree that they had bad behavior for 100 years. So how come it didn't, how come their result wasn't similar to ours? If bad behavior produced those results. Because it looked like bad behavior doesn't produce those results when it came to them. It looked like bad behavior produced riches, wealth, land ownership. You dig? A superpower nation. So he tried to get in front of it, but it was too late. So that's how I did him. All right. Now, Focus, we're gonna play him next. So I kept my cool, you feel me? He was disingenuous, he was sarcastic, he was disrespectful, undermining, but I kept my cool, and there you go. Now Focus, I said, Focus, I got a coon conservative you could debate, and I try to warn him and say, hey man, he's very dismissive. You can't use the past. You can't use the past. He's not going to accept it. You got to argue for modern times. Oh, I got it. I said, all right, man, you're going to see the result of that one. But let me see what folks are saying. Any haters in the chat? I do have the link for you guys tonight. I got time for people tonight. And I got to play Miss Proper T, the conversation we had with Miss Proper T before I go today. All right, so now let me get to Focus discussion with the same guy, because I had enough of this guy. So and I was wondering like what the next person, how the next person would be able to handle him. You know, like if I missed anything. But Focus will admit that I kept a better composure than him. He lost it. He was calling them coons and a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so let me find that real quick. And we're gonna pick that one apart. How's everybody doing in here? All right, so I found it.
That's in the past. We can't do anything about the past. We got to move forward. And we know
So he's very dismissive about the past. So he kind of handcuffs you immediately. So you can't really like destroy him. Can't bring up the past.
All right. Yeah. As I told him the last time we spoke, I'm a firm believer in that although America treated black folks bad in the past, that's in the past. We can't do anything about the past. We got to move forward. And there's nothing more about the past that we should be focused on. Because right now, there's nothing that a black person cannot do achieve in America. So focusing on the past is only handicapping us. And really, truly, the only real impact that the past has on us is that we keep brainwashing ourselves. We keep brainwashing the later generation to focus on. As I spoke to him, he talked about last time, he talked about the Homestead Act. And I'm like, there's no black person today that's being held back by the Homestead Act. So why we keep bringing it up? I mean, at the very latest, I mean, the Homestead Act ended in what, 76? And you had to be at least 21 years of age. So you had to be 70 to even take advantage of that. How many black people alive today are over the age of 70 or older? Not many. So why are we worrying about the past? We got to move forward and move forward to the future. And it's not like we don't have examples, because I told him last time, look at what Asian people outperform white people in just about every metric in society.
Yeah. Okay. So I cooked him at that point that he's bringing it back up.
So how about we look at what they're doing and we mimic it and mimic what they're doing? It's not
well, we can't, because you guys made them white. Okay, you guys made them white. So we can't mimic people who you make white.
Can't. So I just simply said we got to stop focusing on the past, and we got to move forward. And that's pretty much my view. I mean, the overall view, nothing specific.
Okay, so my question to you would be, can you tell me one people on the planet, one culture on the planet, one a nation on the planet that does not recognize and does not study and does not learn, if you will, from the atrocities of the past to incorporate it into their present movements to chart out a path for the future? Can you name me one?
Well, I can't think of anyone. I wouldn't say forget the past because the past is important. You learn from the past.
My second question would be, since nobody on the entire planet negates their past, to understand their present and to chart out a path for their future, why are Black people being held to that standard alone?
You mean the standard of looking at the past?
No, of understanding the past,
okay.
of using the lessons, if you will, of the past, or understanding the atrocity of the past to properly understand the current position that their people are in, thereby charting out a path towards the future for their people. There's nobody on the planet that does that, except Black people who are being charged with somehow forgetting what we went through and not being able to acknowledge what we went through to understand why we're in the position that we're in now. You talked about the Housing Act, for example, and it's one of my favorite points to go to when I deal with people who, want to conveniently negate the past. The Housing Act, and you said that doesn't affect anybody today. Well, let's look at the Housing Act. Let's look at FDR's Housing Act. For roughly 34 years, hundreds of millions of home loans were given to white people only. Black people weren't allowed to partake in these home loans. They weren't allowed to inherit these home loans. Homes weren't allowed to be bequeathed upon them. Now, those hundreds of millions of home loans build what we call equity, right? And with that equity, these white people were allowed to pay medical bills. They were allowed to send their kids to college. They were allowed to partake in the natural, inflation, right, of the cost of living. For example, in that 30s, when they first got the home, it may have been worth $5,000, $10,000, and that same home is worth $500,000 to $5 million now. So that singular act, a racist, illegal, immoral act that removed the Black people from attaining wealth via real estate in this country, still directly affects us today because we are disproportionately not living in those affluent neighborhoods, which also those neighborhoods, based upon where you live is based upon the quality of your schooling, right? Based upon where you live is the quality of your property, the quality of the town's wealth, and what they can reinvest within the people of the town, right? So we now have been placed at a severe disadvantage just upon that Housing Act. And the Housing Act is not like it was 2 million years ago. You're talking about it ended 60 years ago, but by this time, segregation and this huge wealth gap and disparity was already placed firmly in society. So now we had barely one generation from that. My grandmother or someone's grandmother gave it to their father. Maybe 2 generations father gave it to me, but a lot of them people still alive, right? The fathers and even the grandparents in some regards. So what you have is a whole host of young children inheriting houses, inheriting money, inheriting the fruits of this illegal, racist, immoral act, and basically being placed in the forefront of society when Black people cannot participate or benefit from that, right? And that's just one aspect, right? And you deal with that. Because during this same Housing Act, or as a result, I should say, of the same Housing Act, when you created your suburbs, you also effectively created your hoods and your ghettos, okay? Now, these hoods and these ghettos were then not only drugs pumped in these communities, these communities were over-policed. It's still over-policed to today, right?
Okay. Based off of what? Over-policed based off of what? Are you saying that that's There's more police officers policing them because you're going on long.
Yeah, so that's the thing folks got to work on. See how so Focus was doing the FHA, the housing, you got to stop, let them respond to that. So Focus, what he does a lot, and I disagree with trying to let them know that's not even going to do it. He said a mouthful about the FHA, the loan, and all types of things. And now you're going to another point, another bullet to argue another tough, controversial, like a whole separate argument. You got to stay where you are. And then get to the point, land your plane, let them respond. So let's go to the first one. We're talking about the FDR Housing Act, FHA loans, and he said those don't affect anybody today. Okay, look at it. So redlining and exclusion from FHA loans cause wealth divergence and determine school funding, property tax bases, and modern policing zones. That's either true or false. Okay, so Brookings 2020 and NCRC 2021. These are some more stats that he's going to say. What do they comprise these stats? I want to know all the ins and outs. But they showed red line zones still have lower credit scores and higher policing density. Homes in former red line tracts are worth 52% less on average. Okay. So property tax, school finance. Okay, so neighborhood wealth still tracks school resources, AP availability, facilities, and test outcomes, right? So lower home values. So here's the thing: lower home values, lower credit scores, higher denial rates, policing intensity, often higher environmental burdens. That becomes more common, obviously. So now mortgage approvals today. Okay, so studies repeatedly show higher denial and worse pricing for Black borrowers, even after controlling for income, debt to income, and credit scores. I already told you. So FDR just didn't build houses; he laid the map. If your zip code got the green light in the 1930s, your kids got AP classes. We outside of town, we got boarded windows and a squad car, like you see, like the movie The Black Panther. So if nothing is stopping anything great, explain why Black FBA borrowers still face higher denial with the same profile. Right? He can't explain that, so he say, well, how do they comprise the stats? Let me look into it. Let me like he's an expert. Okay. So the underwriting software didn't forget, obviously, it remembers addresses. So now they're going into over policing. So this is another, so I'm trying to get you guys to understand the talking points of these guys. They deny a lot of things, and this is another one.
You see, by over policing, do you mean that there's more police in the Black community than in the white community?
Hillary.
Yeah, that's
okay,
what I mean.
Okay, well, if that's where the crime is, that's where you allocate your resources to. When you allocate your resources to where the crime is, I mean, if you have resources to stop crime and high crime rates over here and less crime rates over there, you put move your assets over here where the crime rates are.
Okay,
but that's irrelevant because you don't have to commit any crime. It doesn't matter how many police in your community.
Don't commit crime. So white people don't commit crime.
At the same rate as Black people? No, not even remotely.
Okay, well, how would you know that? How would you know that if their communities are under police, therefore their crimes are underreported?
Well, how are they underreported if there's no call for report?
They're under police and they're underreported.
Okay, so underreported based off of what? Under police doesn't mean unreported though. Because just because you have less police officers, I mean you can't call it a reported crime.
I'll give you an example. Drug use, okay? Drug use permeates the white community. They're doing cocaine, they're doing all types of illicit drugs, acid, LSD, dope, opioids, all of this type of stuff, okay? All throughout the white community, okay? But if it's under-policed, then that means the crimes are underreported and the drug users are under-arrested because you're under-policing those communities. While you send all of the police to our communities, over-police them, and then as a result, lock a lot more people up in the black community. So then you will.
Let me finish
real quick, and then I'm gonna let you speak.
You got to close it up.
Let me finish real quick, and then I'm gonna let you speak. So then now what you will have is this fake belief, if you will, that all the crime is happening in the black community because that's where you send your police. So therefore, that's the only crime you are trying to find. But the crime that exists in the white communities are flying under the radar. And now people like yourself believe that white people do no harm, and it's only the niggas. So go ahead, you talk.
Okay, first of all, as I said, just because you don't have as many cops there doesn't mean that the crimes are not being reported. People still report crimes regardless of how many cops that are there. Second of all, as far as these white people are using, all these drugs, and black folks use drugs too. Now, I just said I spoke to Roy last time. I was explaining to him exactly how when you hear black people say white people use drugs at the same rate which black people do, but the black folks arrested at a high rate, that's not true. And I explained to him that the way they got that from was based off of surveys at a drug treatment rehab center. They would ask people, have you used drugs in the last 30 days, 60 days, and so on and so forth. And according to those surveys, that's what the studies were based off. The problem is that you can't trust a survey because anybody can say anything on a survey. A survey is not scientific. And here's the thing, though, when those surveys were backed up by actual drug tests, the drug tests, which are scientific.
So family, he said it again, surveys are not scientific. Bro, the FBI reports you read about we make up 13% of the population, don't commit 50% of the murders. That's not scientific. I mean, the dude's just nuts.
Scientific showed that black people was several times more likely to have lied. Like 3 times more likely to have lied. So if black folks are more likely to have lied on those surveys, then when they explain the discrepancy in the rest, regardless, though, why wouldn't? If black people were several times more likely to lie on the survey that people use to say that white people use drugs as much as black people do, when they create a discrepancy, just based off the surveys, and I take into account that black folks are more likely to have lied.
Okay.
All right, so let me respond because he done said a lot. So you see how we're somewhere else now. Like they jump from topic to topic and just too often. Like that's not how you do this with these guys. You don't do that. So he said over policing exists because of crime, not racism. So his argument is really a circular fallacy because he's affirming the consequence. Okay, so Focus correctly noted that policing density creates higher recorded crime rates. Okay, so the DOJ 2015 Ferguson report, Beverett Institute 2018 study showing identical drug use rates, but identical drug use rates, but 5 times higher arrest rates in black neighborhoods due to proactive patrol saturation. Okay, so proactive patrols plus stop search quotas. Okay, hold on. I know, just running like crazy. I bought some napkins, well, like tissues. I put them in the bottom of the stroller. I always do this. Put them in the bottom of the stroller. I don't secure it in my bag, my laptop bag, and the whole roll. When I got here, I didn't realize I done got it. It's gone. The whole tissue thing box must have fell out somewhere. Gone. Anyway, so proactive patrols plus stop search quotas inflate encounters, arrests, and reported crime in targeted areas independent of true prevalence, documented in multiple city audits and DOJ consent decrees. Okay, so national health surveys and toxicology based studies show similar drug use across races. Enforcement varies, location and tactics, not use. So there's your science. There's your science. So drug use is similar across races. Patrol saturation decides who gets the handcuffs, not who get high. Right? So now he said this. He said that surveys show blacks lie about drug use. So now while he's dismissing surveys because they're not science, but he's reading off a survey. He's reading off a survey that showed blacks lie about drug use. This guy is crazy. Oh, I'm gonna get him good. So he said black drug use is higher. Surveys are lies. That's false, obviously. So he misrepresented methodology from SAMHSA. So Sam Hussein and NIH data. So he misrepresented methodology. And this is the guy who wants to know all the methodology and everything. And then when he gets it, he misrepresented. Random urine screenings, e.g., National Epidemiologic Survey on Alcohol and Related Conditions, the science, confirm parity in drug use rates by race, not dishonesty. All right, this ain't nobody talking now. So you can, so the study link, we could easily get that for them. So every national data set, SAMHSA, NIH, CDC, it shows similar or lower drug use among black adults compared with whites. So we're actually lower. So DOJ, Ferguson, and NYU policing project enforcement, not usage, creates the disparity. Okay, so it's the police, not the usage. So surveys don't lie, racist policing does. Crack and powder were the same molecule, it's the 100-to-1 crack cocaine ratio. They're the same molecule, only the zip code changed the sentence. So drug use, right, is equal, right, between us and whites. And some say it's less with us. But the drug arrests are unequal. So he needs to respond to that. Same chemistry, crack cocaine, different penalties. Right? Oh man, I can't wait till he come back. But get used to him like just being all over the place, not answering questions and running around. Like he's gonna do that. Focus lost his focus, but I kept mine. So that's the difference. So next time, we're gonna probably talk to him together.
Okay, so you're saying that the surveys that you just said don't really have too much credibility now have credibility because
I said the drug test. The drug test showed that.
So Focus got them too. So Focus was like the first surveys we're saying don't have credibility, now have credibility. See, and so Focus got them. But see, listen, when you have people, you got to stick it to them. You just can't have them and let it go. Because once you get somebody, they don't want to address it. They want to move on. So no, you make them acknowledge, no, you said that. Okay, so what's up? Where you at now? And let them, explain and then move on.
That black folks are more likely to have lied. Drug tests.
So the surveys are backed up by drug tests.
Well, when the surveys were backed up by drug tests, it showed that black people were 7 times more likely to have lied.
Okay, and where were these surveys conducted?
In drug treatment rehab centers.
Drug treatment rehab centers. So
yeah, that's why they get these studies that show that white people use drugs at the same rate as black people. When you ever hear
so he just admitted it now. He said we use it now it's the same rate, but earlier he said we use it more.
No, let me just get clarification. So in drug rehab centers, drug addicts were asked questions about whether they did drugs or not.
Yes.
And once, and okay.
Yes, we need the rework in the chat.
And then once the drug tests were back,
Well, the tether's lurking around.
Drug tests were used. It came out that black people were lying about their drug test, their drug use, more than white people were lying.
Yes, the drug test showed that black people was so like 3 times more likely
but
to
they
have
were
lied.
all done in drug. They were all done in drug rehab centers, right?
Well, I mean, drug rehab centers and different things like that. Yeah.
Oh, Focus got them.
Okay,
That's where they get the. That's where they get the data.
It's safe for us to deduce that all those people were on drugs, right?
Right.
Well, when people stated they were there for drugs, but when they did a drug test and the drug test showed that people had drugs in their system, that black people were likely to have lied. Oh, wherever they conducted the test,
he's lying.
It was basically when they say that white people use drugs.
So now let's ask him for the same research. Okay, can you get that for us? You feel me? So when we say something, he wants all the everything. Now he's lying. He's freestyling. And he's lying. Okay, he couldn't back this up.
At the same rate as black people. It was based off of surveys.
Okay, so now I need you to correlate for me how drug addicts in drug rehab centers lying about whether they did drugs in the last 30 days has more of an effect on the crime being reported or underreported based upon policing, over-policing, or under-policing certain communities. Because I don't see the correlation there.
Say it again. You want to know how the
Braxton, peace.
Yeah, because what we're talking about at the moment is over-policing and under-policing certain communities, therefore over-reporting and under-reporting certain crimes, therefore the numbers being skewed based upon an intense focus on certain subsets of the society. I don't know how you translate drug addicts lying in drug rehab centers, okay, to the point that I'm making about over or underreporting police and over and underreporting crime.
Okay, so you're saying, are you saying that the system purposely put the police officers in the black community, or perhaps maybe they put the police officers there because that's where they're seeing the high crime rate? So
no, sir. What I'm telling you is that once the FDR's Housing Act properly segregated society from white community to black community, they were able to ill affect certain subsets of society directly.
Okay, so that made them use drugs?
Hold on.
That made them use drugs?
Policies, programs, rules, and laws, one of which being the intense militarization of the police, over-policing black communities, the criminalization of black people, okay, and the privatizations of the prison industrial complex where they wanted you to fill disproportionately. So they were able to create programs, laws, rules, and policies based upon the segregation that was created through the Housing Act. Now, once they have
so these things cause black people to.
Okay, Forlang, I appreciate you, bro, but never say is useless. It's not about him and changing his mind. It's about the people who are unsuspected and they are being influenced by this type of hate. All right. So we do it for those people, those ears, the ears that can't discern either or. So that's why you do it. That's why you think politicians debate. Like they're not going to change each other's minds. The liberals won't change the conservatives. Conservatives won't change the liberals, but they do it for the American public, not for each other. So when we do it for the American public as well, not for each other.
Commit crime. As I said, it doesn't matter how many police in your community. If you're not committing crime, you won't be arrested. You still have to go out here and commit crime. And you cannot tell me that white people are committing the same petty street crimes that we see happening in the hood. If you
Yeah, but they are though.
that is to be ridiculous.
First of all, white people commit crimes of their own. That's first
Yes,
of all.
but
Second of all,
but I the same
hold
rate
on.
as what black people are.
Second of all, that's not true. Second, because
It is
at the end of
absolutely
the day, at the end of no, as I said, well, you wouldn't know that because crime in the white community is underreported. They act as though crime is not crime.
Underreported based off of what?
Hold on.
How is it
in the white
underreported?
community. That's what they act as though. Okay.
How would you know it's underreported?
You said
How
what?
would you know it's underreported? How would you know it's underreported? So you're telling me that white people, when things happen to white people, they don't call the cops?
No, sir, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what be underreported.
Simple, because it's under police. If it's under police,
but under policing doesn't mean yet you don't report crimes. Though. You're saying that if something happens to a white person, they don't call the cops and report something?
Sir, what I'm saying to you is this. If you have a system where you target certain communities, you profile certain communities, you disproportionately pull over certain communities, you look for crime in certain communities, then you will disproportionately find it there. So if you flood the black community,
but what I'm saying is,
if you flood the black community with an overt amount of police officers purposely looking for things, then you'll find them a lot more than if you under police other communities. Now, something Malcolm X said. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
So you're saying that they put these police officers in a black community just to find crimes, or perhaps maybe because they put them there because the crime rates were higher there. Again, if you want to address crime and they have crime, the crime rate is high over there. Isn't that where you're going to put crime at? Isn't that where you're going to put?
Then why is the crime rate still higher?
Which crime rate still higher?
If you put all the police in that area, the crime rate should be lower since that's where all the police are at. But the crime rate is still higher. So why is it still higher if you put all the police there?
Because people are committing the crime. You have to change the mentality of the people. You have to change the mentality of the people.
So it's not working. So you put all the police.
We change the mentality.
So this where Focus had him. This Focus. Oh, where is he at? Is he in the chat? Let me put the link in it. Let me put the link in the chat in case he's watching. He had him right here. He had him right here. So Tariq would have been like, okay, but it's not working. So what should you do now? What is the solution now that all those folks there ain't changing the outcome? What should be the solution now? So he had him in that moment right here. And I think he's going to let him off the hook. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Mentality of the people. You have to change the mentality of the people.
It's still abnormally high. The crime rate is still abnormally high.
Because the people are committing high crime rates.
No, because that's what you're looking for. Everybody commits crimes. There's crimes committed in every subset and community in America and in the world.
Yes, but at what rates? At what rates? Black folks are doing it at high rates.
That's not true.
How is it not true?
That's not true. That's not true.
How is it not true?
Yeah, how do you gauge that? How do you gauge the same rate? You gauge the same rate. I'm thinking if there's 20 visible in the community, right? Then you have 20 visible in the other community. And then you could base it off that rate, because now it's even, 20 here, 20 there, and you can get some type of some result there. But if you got 100 in one community and 20 in the other, of course the 100 is going to show a disparity. That's just obvious. So it has to be even.
Bro, if somebody commits a crime and you report it, it gets reported, bro. If the problem is that's way more crime. Matter of fact, here's a stat that I heard, that black women call 911 more than anybody. Now, is that true?
You know,
We'd have to.
I haven't read that stat. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you get that. You source up on that one.
All I know is this here. I never heard nobody say, you know, don't.
So you see, family. So he'll hold focus to exact data, and he just admitted that he went with a rumor stat. This guy's a joke, man. That focus had him. Now I was present, but I was tied up. I had a friend. I had a meeting with a friend who was I wrote a book, and he was discussing the book. So I was present, but I was like, I couldn't really focus. I couldn't really listen to it. I was out. They couldn't lean on me but he had them right there, man. I wish I would have been like available for this one, but I wasn't really available. I was there, but I wasn't checked in mentally because I had a physical meeting. Like somebody was explaining their book to me.
You don't go in that part of town because there's white people there. Most of the time when people say you don't go to a part of town at night, is in the hood somewhere where black people are. Most of the killings, there are more blacks killed by the hands of other blacks than pretty much at a high rate than any other races.
Sir,
it's the same.
There's plenty of white communities that black people are scared to go into at night that are full white. Okay, because the KKK resides there.
Right, the KKK
resides there.
Right, the KKK.
Let me finish.
It's a joke, right? That's not the KKK is a shit.
The racists reside there. Excuse me, sir. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Growing up, we were scared to ride through the white communities. We weren't scared to ride through the black communities. We were scared to ride through white communities. Because why? Because if a white cop seen you, they're liable to pull you over, they're liable to harass you, they're liable to try to disaffect your life negatively. Okay?
Okay, how old are you then? Well, how old are you?
Let me finish. I'm 40 years old, sir.
Okay, so growing up, all I know is growing up, I'm 51. Growing up, I ain't never had no problem going in the white side community. And I never heard anybody put any issue of the white community. Always the black community.
That may be fine in your anecdotal experience. But what I'm telling you is...
Well, that's your anecdotal experience.
Hold on, sir. What I'm telling you is there's white communities that black people are scared to go into as well. See, but when you don't frame it the same, when you act as though the only communities you should be scared to go in is the black communities, because that's where all of the scary people are at. And you
all I know is I never had fear going in any white community.
Sir,
the average black person in America does have no fear going to the white communities. It's the hood. Wrong niggas. It's wrong niggas. Wrong niggas. Ain't nobody no white folks. So that's a bunch of bullshit what you're saying. Now go ahead.
Sir, let me finish,
bullshit,
Uncle Tom, sir. Because
you talking straight bullshit now. You know,
okay,
God.
See, so Focus called him the first name, and now it's about to go left.
And you
Uncle Tom means nothing. Uncle Tom means nothing. It's just another ridiculous leftist phrase. That's all it is. Another leftist.
I'm trying to have a cordial conversation with you.
Go ahead, because you're talking nonsense.
I'm trying to have a cordial conversation with you. Now, it is pure illusion that the only communities people are scared to go into is black communities. That's pure illusion. Okay? Perpetuated by the white media.
I didn't say the only.
Sir,
nobody said only. At the highest rate.
Sir.
Highest rates.
Let me finish, sir. Thank you, sir.
Don't make sense to go on saying the same. I'm saying
guys.
At the highest rate. At the highest rates. For you to say just straight nonsense.
Sir.
Hold on, but both of you, but both of you. Right, because I'm listening, great conversation, but I think it's getting too personal. So, just try to be respectful, but also consider it that the other person want to talk. So don't be too long.
Right.
Just get to the point fast as you can and let CLR respond. Let CRL make his point quick as he can. But also, you guys are going to engage. So let's try to make it quick. I'm sure you're saying something, CLR want to respond, and vice versa. So just be considerate of each other that both of you want to talk. Because it's a great
Okay.
conversation, but don't make it too of a shouting match. You know, keep it positive.
All right, I just want to. I'm spending most of my time saying, "Sir, sir, sir." Let me get my point off. But it is pure illusion that the only communities people are scared to go into is Black communities. Pure illusion.
Yeah, didn't
Pure
say all.
illusion. Sir. But that's what the white-controlled white media is pushing up. The scary Black man, bro. There is Chinese communities people are scared to go into, ran by the triads, ran by the Yakuza, people are scared to go into. There are Uncle Tom Hill, I mean not Uncle Tom, there are hillbilly racist white communities that people are scared to go into, live in pure fear. Black people live in pure fear to go into there. Just certain Jewish people live in pure fear to go into there. Hispanics, pure fear to go into there, okay? This idea that only the Black community is the scary community to go into is some white media perpetuated bullshit that you choose to believe because you're a Tom. But the reality of the matter is there's communities throughout the United States and throughout the world that people, for different reasons, fear going into. That's a fact, okay? Now, if you say that all of the police is in the Black community, and that's where most of the police reside, then guess what? You should have less fear going in there because that's all the cops is at. Yeah, you should be able to see a cop on every damn corner. A cop will escort you through that mug. But the reality of the matter is, it's pure illusion perpetuated by the white media. And then but I'm gonna let you talk. But then I want to get into how the Black community got to the position that it is in systematically, and why Black people have been placed at a severe disadvantage, not just financially, but culturally as well. But you go ahead.
Okay, I never said all. But there are places you say hillbilly white folks. Sure, is it the norm for Black of white people? No, that is not the norm of white people. Yes, it exists among everybody, but that's not the norm for whites. Most places where white folks live, you don't have a fear going into. Now, again, I never said all. Second of all, this idea once again is where there aren't police on every corner in a Black community. There aren't police on every corner. So there's not enough police to be on every corner. But if that's where the crime is being committed, then that's where they're gonna put the crime. And oftentimes when we talk about again, it's the petty street crime that makes a community undesirable to live in. That's what we're talking about. That's going to be seen most often in the hoods, which is often unfortunately for Black people, it's a higher rate. There's far more hood amongst Blacks than as you can see amongst white people or any other race of people in America. I can't speak on the world. I live in America.
Okay, so sir, once again, it's not true. I'm from the hood. I don't know where you're from. I'm from the hood. And in every Black city, urban city, or community, you have certain problem areas. You come to Plainfield, you got, 6th Street, Projects, 3rd Street, Clinton Ave, maybe a couple of 2nd Street, 7, 8, 10 blocks, maybe, projects, okay? All of the rest of the community is perfectly fine. You have your certain problem areas, right? But the reality of the matter is, if you use the white-controlled media and the white-controlled system to play up the Black community as if the entirety of the Black community is these certain few problem areas, then what you'll have is a misconception that exists about the Black community. But if you go, like, for example, to any Black community in America, when you go to the problem areas, 2 or 3 blocks up, it's beautiful. Houses is fine, people sleep in peace, okay? This is a small subset of society, okay? As is the hillbillies community, as is the racist skinhead community.
Yeah, Focus made a sound argument. Like, the dude is bugging. All of us that live in urban areas that got like a little hood there, the hood part is so small in our communities, like you can easily avoid it. Like, it's not like everywhere. Hold on, me. In my nose again. My nose is going crazy right now. Yeah, so largely our neighborhoods are fine. That's why we can easily go to each other neighborhoods and nothing will ever happen to us. Like that's why I told somebody on the net, like, bro, as long as the neighborhood's black, I'm gonna be fine. Like, just let me know like the worst parts. I just won't go there. But I've been to Chicago, I've been to just different places. Like there's certain areas that's really bad, but most of urban cities are just neutral. They just don't start nobody. Don't start nothing. It won't be nothing. Type shit. But Focus got them right there. Peace to Dark World and who was the Dark World and the other brother? Uh Bird Slim Reacts. He must not get out much. We got Lewis Jennings in the building. Thank you, new supporters here, new people of the same lineage. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe, notification bell. I hit you all with a lineage rich, and those who want to support financially, the Cash App tag is right there. So Focus is actually doing good. He just losing his cool. Like the name calling, I wouldn't advise that, especially when you're winning. You know, like let him do the name calling, but it's going to go left.
These are small subsets of society, but the disconnect comes where you use these racist, these subsects of societies for the black community to represent the entirety of their race, while you willfully hide the problematic subsets of the white community. This has been a tactic of the American government and the American media apparatus for hundreds of years, to misrepresent black people so that they can constantly and continue to mistreat them. If I want you filling prisons, if I want to disproportionately affect you, if I want to disproportionately arrest you, then I'll go on the Richard Nixon criminalization campaign, a Ronald Reagan criminal war on drugs campaign, where I'll put all black folks up with crack, cocaine, all black folks up in the hood on TV to give the world this misguided, misrepresented view of who black people are. But if you actually look at the numbers, the vast majority of us don't sell drugs. We working, brother. The vast majority, you might talk about less than 10% of us who actually selling drugs. Young boys, some people who got felonies early, who can't really get a good job, so they out here selling drugs. But the vast majority.
Okay, my fault. I'm over here talking. My microphone is on mute. So CLR, right? That's his name. That supposedly stands for common sense, logic, and reason. And we know he must be saying that's what we have, because he don't represent that at all. But he said police go where crime is. He said it's simple math. Okay, well, studies say something different, right? So the NYU Policing Project 2022 proves predictive policing feedback loops inflate arrest rates. Okay, so they inflate arrest rates in previously targeted zones, not objective crime. Okay, not objective crime facts. So they're inflating arrest rates. So they're lying. DOJ reports show police patrol hours predict arrest counts better than 9/11 calls did. So nobody's even calling the cops, basically. Predictive policing feedback loops inflate crime stats where cops already are. Okay, so basically, if you flood one area with cops and then brag you found crime, what else are you gonna find? That's what Focus was arguing. You discovered your own patrol log, fool. So over policing manufactures statistics. Okay, so policing doesn't equate to physics. It's just policy. So to act like that, it doesn't make sense. That is like clear delusion. Like clear just his hate for, and he's supposedly FBA. So he said people fear black neighborhoods. Okay, but DJ Focus corrected him with empirical sociology. Perceived disorder is not the same as actual crime. So just because you fear to go somewhere doesn't mean that's a criminal element. There's a criminal element. You know, people be afraid to go into elevators. Does that mean crime happened in elevators? What about escalators? I hated escalators for a long ass time. Until I got older, I got on escalators. I hated escalators. So, but does that mean escalators are that's where crime resides? What about people who don't want to drive? People who don't want to fly? A fear. So that's a goofy point. So some research. So Sampson and Rawlinbush, 2004, American Journal of Sociology, racial composition predicts fear of crime stronger than actual violent race. Again, racial composition predicts fear of crimes stronger than actual violent race. So people like him and Charlie Kirk, like they were pushing the thing. Oh, blacks are so criminal elements. So now people are just afraid for no reason. So it's when they come across you, they lock their doors and you're not a threat at all. Okay, so media amplifies danger. Okay, and cues tied to black imagery. White fear isn't data, my boy. It's a marketing campaign. If perception were reality, shark attacks would be our top killer, right? You like, well, damn, sharks. Sharks, oh my God. So fear doesn't equate to fact. Just because you fear something doesn't mean there's a fact somewhere over there. So perception built to fix, but policy keeps it locked. Also, okay, so let's go on. So now that now a lot of talking points from the conservative side, they like to also deny. So they deny over policing. They deny poverty causes crime, like family. Yes, they do. Okay, so for some of us, this is common sense, but they deny poverty is a root of crime. Listen to this.
Majority of us got jobs. The vast majority of us are out here working, making an honest living, brother. Okay? So we can continue to try to misrepresent black people so that we can minimalize and belittle their plight in this country and what they have been through and are going through, but you're not going to pull that small time.
Okay, you gotta wrap it up. It's starting to get long-winded.
I'm ready. Go ahead, talk.
Okay, once again, I never said all. I said, unfortunately, with black people, there's a higher rate of it. It happens amongst white people, sure, but with black people, there's a higher rate of the destructivity. As you can say, the small pockets of areas amongst black people seem to be bigger than other areas. So again, like I said, I didn't say all black it is, and this represents all black. I said it with black people at a higher rate. So,
okay,
so you must be saying I said all. I didn't say all.
Okay, let's go on your premise. Okay, black people committing crimes at a higher rate. Let me concede that, even though it's bullshit. But let me concede that. Okay, would you agree that poverty is one of the biggest indicators of crime?
No, poverty does not cause crime. That's bullshit.
Poverty does not cause crime.
No, poverty does not cause crime. That's a convenient assumption. There's no evidence to prove that.
Okay.
That's a convenient assumption.
So people who are put at a financial disadvantage and living and forced into abject poverty are not more likely to commit crimes, petty crimes, for money, for TV. No.
That's a mentality.
Okay. So
that's
it's not poverty.
mentality.
All right.
No, it's not
so
poverty.
It's not poverty.
Okay.
All right. So it's not. Okay.
No,
okay. So it's not poverty. It's not
mentality.
Poverty
poor mentality is called crime, not poverty.
Poor mentality. Okay.
Poor mentality.
All right.
The poverty rates among black people were worse than they were 180 years ago, but the crime rates wasn't as bad as the other day.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this question.
Family,
can poverty inadvertently cause poor mentality?
No. Poverty doesn't cause you to commit a crime. Poverty does not cause you to commit a crime.
All right. So poor mentality.
Poverty does not cause you to commit a crime.
Oh, excuse me, sir. Can white supremacy inadvertently cause a poor mentality?
Well, white supremacy is nothing but black inferiority. That's stuff that's in your head. There's no white people walking around here pumping their chest about being
Black
superior.
inferiority. Black
That's
inferiority
nothing
is
but black
inevitable
inferiority.
adverse effect.
No, white supremacy is just nothing but black inferiority. That's the stuff that you brainwash and program your stuff in your head. There's no white supremacy stopping a single black person from doing anything in America.
Fine.
If you believe so, give me an example.
Okay, Tom, fine. Let me ask you a question.
Okay,
you said. Okay, now you just said that black inferiority is white supremacy, as though the root causal of white supremacy is a black inferior mindset.
Well, no, white supremacy is a whole bunch of nonsense that's in black people's head. That y'all keep brainwashing
so white supremacy
everybody.
doesn't exist.
So no, white supremacy doesn't exist. No, there's no white people around here calling themselves about being superior.
Hold on. Has it ever existed?
Yes, it doesn't exist today.
When did it stop? When did it stop? What year did white supremacy stop?
Well, I say white supremacy stopped when a black person was able to achieve anything in this country. And a black person can do anything.
So what year was that? So what year was that?
Hey, focus. I just want to, suggest, just keep it a little down a little bit. You get a little hyper.
What year is it? What year? It's 2025.
What year was it that white supremacy
2025. There's no 2025. There's no white supremacy stopping a single black person doing a single thing.
What year it stopped? Sir,
right now we're living in 2025. Can a black person be able to do it?
You said white supremacy.
So he's saying 2025 is stop. No, but he's saying 2025 is stop. He's saying this year.
Okay. So you're 40 years of age, right? What year were you held back from achieving anything in America?
Not the question I'm asking. We both agreed.
I answered the question. Right now, we live in 2025. You can achieve anything, so do it.
Sir, let's stay on track here, okay? Let's stay on track. You said poor mentality causes crime.
Yes,
you said poverty doesn't cause. Hold on, sir. You said poverty doesn't
black
cause.
People.
Sir,
black people prove that. Black people prove that poverty doesn't cause.
Sir. You said poverty doesn't cause poor mentality.
No.
Now you're saying I asked you, does white supremacy cause a bad mentality? You think in an effort to not. Sir,
no, white supremacy doesn't cause bad mentality.
Okay. All right. Good to answer no. Because first you circumvented the question by saying white supremacy doesn't exist and it's a made-up construct. So now,
it doesn't exist.
Hold on. Okay. So now we're saying poverty doesn't cause poor mentality.
No.
White supremacy doesn't cause poor mentality. Hold on now. Does miseducation cause a poor mentality?
What is miseducation?
Miseducation. You know what miseducation is? Purposely and improperly educating someone, giving them a curriculum that does not benefit their mental growth, but that benefits a certain subset or mentality of subservience, if you will, a school to prison type, a pipeline type.
There is no school to prison pipeline. There is no school to prison pipeline.
Okay, fine.
A single parent household pipeline, but not school.
Wait a minute. He denied school to prison pipeline? Are you? Wait. Even Larry Elder admits that that's a real thing. Hold on.
Subservience, if you will, a school to prison type, a pipeline type.
There is no school to prison pipeline. There is no school.
Yeah, I got him, family. I got him. Again, he's calling back in next week, maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I'm gonna try to get him as soon as possible next week. So wait, not Tuesday. I got my son's first day of school. So maybe Wednesday. Wednesday we might get him.
Okay, fine.
A single parent household pipeline, but not school.
A system that teaches young black kids about what? I'm on the phone. A system that teaches young black kids only about accomplishments post and during slavery, but won't go further back to who they were prior to being slaves, right? A system that tells a whitewashed version of history that tells about every American white hero while they basically don't teach you about the black people that were behind him, like Granville T. Woods or Benjamin Banneker, George Washington Carver, or all of these people. And I'm not talking about George Washington Carver as, oh, he created a peanut, but as him being the actual intellectual mind behind Henry Ford, and the fact that they castrated him so that he couldn't reproduce his intellect. I'm talking about that true version of history as opposed to a whitewashed version of history. I'm talking about that type of miseducation. Can miseducation create a poor mentality?
No, because that's it. Say you telling me that in order for black people to learn, you got to learn that you got to be taught that George Washington Carver was castrated. So without being taught, without being taught that George Washington Carver was castrated, I can't learn math. I can't learn science. I can't learn to read. No. What I'm saying is this: when you teach about George Washington Carver and you say he created peanut butter and he found out different ways to do with the peanut, but you don't say that he was actually the intellectual mind behind all of Henry Ford's inventions, that you don't say that racist white people castrated him because they wanted to continue to perpetuate the belief that white people were more intelligent than black people, which is classic Darwinism, which is classic eugenics, which is classic white supremacy teaching. White people are the final evolution, the final representation of human evolution. Intellectually, they're better than everybody. Okay? That's not being taught this school. That is not being taught this school. That is not being taught this school.
When you do
that is not being taught in school. You gotta stop lying. Bro.
Exactly. I know it's not.
That is not being taught in school.
Sir.
Nobody's being told that white people are superior.
Sir.
People define evolution of this. That's not being taught in school.
But focus. You gotta let them go because you're like dominating the conversation.
Nobody's
dominating it. That's why.
Nobody's teaching. Nobody's teaching kids that white folks are superior and white folks are the final evolution of the aspiration of evolution. Nobody's teaching that in those schools, bro.
Okay. Yeah.
Now you're being ridiculous. Now you just being stupid.
Okay. So focus. Now he just said. Now wait. Hey, focus. He just said nobody's teaching that. So now it's on you to, if you want to, you can respond to that and show what's being taught. If not, let's move on to something, because he just said that doesn't happen. You said it did. So you're going to address that, or we can move on and talk about,
I never said it happened. I never said that happened. But I can prove
that's what you
it's
said.
Inadvertently happening. But I didn't, sir. What I said was they castrated George Washington Carver because they wanted to perpetuate the belief that white people were smarter than everybody, and they did not want him to replicate his intellectual mind. During that time,
So now,
I'm not done yet, sir.
Wait.
Sir,
focus. Let him respond to that. Let him respond to that.
Hold on, real quick.
So are you saying? So you saying that?
I'm gonna let him respond real quick. Let me.
Black
but
children
one
can't
point at a
learn
time.
because of
One point at a time.
Yeah, bro. Are you saying that black kids today can't learn because they castrated George Washington Carver?
That's not what I'm saying. I want to finish my point, and then therefore you won't have to ask me what I'm saying.
See, that's why when it comes to me, like I'm really just trying to understand him and have him respond to what I'm saying. You dig? I ain't trying to talk too long. When I debated him, I just cooked him. It's like I'm responding, I'm rebutting, I'm debunking, or I'm cooking, and I'm asking him to respond to what I just said. If the long speeches. No, that's you see, like when you make too many arguments, that doesn't work either. Because now you let him off the first two. Like if you make 10 arguments, now he could just argue, he could just respond to 3 or 2 or 1. He don't gotta respond to all 10. No, that's not me. When I debate, I want you to respond to all my bullet points. But let's just go back. So he said, let's go back. So fact checking. Okay, so he said poverty doesn't cause crime. Focus obviously was correct that it does. Okay, but anyway, CLR, he denied 100 years of criminological consensus, right? So, for example, cite Barkan, 2021, criminology, a sociological understanding. Economic deprivation is the most consistent predictor of violent and property crime across societies. That's criminology. But he said it was anyway. So economic deprivation is the most consistent predictor of violent property crime. As I just said, every recession spikes property crime. It's economic elasticity, right? So poverty and crime aren't related, all right, like that. But one causes the other sometimes. What else? Where we at now? Okay. So he said white supremacy is gone. We just dealing with black inferiority. Interesting. Systemic advantage equals structural access. So again, when I talk to him next week, I'm gonna show audit studies like Bertrand and Mulanathan 2004 identical resumes. Emily versus Lakeisha gets 50% more callbacks. All that type of stuff we're gonna cook him with. But and he's gonna deny every last one of them. Hold on. He's gonna deny every last one of them. So again, you're right. The chat, you're right. He's dumb. But these conversations must be had because he sounds smart to a dumb person. And we have a conversation with him publicly so we can sound smarter to a dumb person. So now a dumb person can choose the one that sounds more smarter. That's why we do this. It's InfoWars. Okay. So structural power gaps persist. Wealth, housing, health, sentencing, corporate leadership. Audit studies show how identical resumes with white names get 50% more callbacks. That's a fact. I don't think he even deny that. He might be sarcastic. Well, start naming, your kids good American names. But power does not equate to merit. It's access, right? So okay, so now we're talking about the schools don't miseducate black kids. So there's something called curricular erasure as mental coding, right? So Carter G. Woodson spoke about that. Okay, so 80% of K to 12 history mentions black people only in context of slavery or civil rights. Southern Poverty Law Center 2018, and that is the reference there. So he said schools don't miseducate, kids just fail. Like this is a guy who just he just ate himself. 80% of U.S. history curriculum mentioned black people only for slavery and civil rights. That's it. Slavery, civil rights, nothing else really great. So districts spend up to $3,000 less per pupil in majority black areas. That's the Education Bill 2020. So he wants stats. There you go.
Saying because I already said it.
Yeah, but you are actually naming more than one point because you addressed the George Washington.
No, it's the same point, sir. It's the same point, sir. Now let me correlate.
But you already.
Oh,
no, but what I'm saying is like you. Okay, listen, bro. This is the issue. That's why he's chiming in because you are making a point. That point was done, and then you're going to add to it. But he wanted to respond to that right away because that was a point done.
My point's not done though. It's not done.
It was done. That's why he was going to respond.
So I'm trying to get him to understand how to debate. Like he's arguing 3-4 points, and he's trying to act like it's all 1 point. It's not. He's trying to argue to the first point you did, and you're introducing the second and third. And I'm saying, bro, like that's why it's getting sloppy.
Let me finish my point.
But you can't tell lies. Can't tell
Brother, let me finish my point. My point ain't done. It's all the same thing. You tried to mischaracterize my position. Now I'm re-characterizing my position and strengthen it before I let you go. It's the same position. Okay? Now, during this time when they castrated George Washington Carver, based upon this misguided belief of Darwinism, this misguided belief that white people are smarter than everybody, or black people on the planet, eugenics was going on around this time, okay? Also what you had was Darwinists going around the world murdering entire indigenous populations based.
All right, see now this is where he went. I mean, now come on, family. You could clearly see he's away from the 2025 arguments that they were doing. Like he's talking about Darwin, okay, and that's what I was trying to save him from. Like, dude, you're going to a direction where you're arguing something totally. Come on, Darwin. Yeah, God.
Based upon the belief that they were inferior intellectually. This is why they chopped George Washington Carver's joint off, to perpetuate that. So until you start teaching the true history of Darwinism, the true history of George Washington Carver, the true history of eugenics and white people's intellectual belief that they're intellectually superior and all the things they have done as a result, then that is miseducation, brother. And can miseducation create a poor mentality? Now you go.
Okay, so you're telling me that black kids, because they're not teaching them that George Washington Carver was castrated, therefore they can't do math, they can't do science, they can't do any other learning because they haven't taught about because they weren't taught that George Washington Carver was castrated because of evolution.
Never said that.
Because Darwin believed that idea that white people were smarter and was
never said that.
eugenics. That's what you
Never
said.
said that.
So what's
No, I
okay?
didn't.
So what's
What
okay?
what
Well, how
I
about
said
this?
was-
Answer this for me. I will answer this for me. What's stopping black kids from being able to learn math and science today?
Hold on, sir. I'll answer that question. But first, answer my question. Can miseducation cause a poor mentality?
Well, there with miseducation is the question.
I just
See, it doesn't matter which. See, at that point, I would have held him to like, don't matter. Like, can it do it or not? Like, I don't want to give examples. Can it cause it or not? And then, you know what I mean? So I would have held him to just that. Like, that's either yes or no. Because you see that he's ready to answer yes. Because whatever example Focus give him, he's going to deny it and reject it. So I don't want to give you an example of what I think. I'm just going to ask you, can miseducation, you know, do you believe miseducation is a real thing? Okay, can that cause a poor mentality? And then I would have pounced on him after that. But all the examples Focus would use as miseducation, he's going to reject it as miseducation.
explain to you 10
You
different
said-
forms of miseducation.
You said that they were teaching eugenics and they didn't teach kids the history of what kids. So teaching kids that instead of teaching them that George Washington Carver created the peanut, did all this stuff with the peanut. Let's teach them about their castrated. That's going to help them, right? That's going to help black kids more. Let them know that George Washington Carver was castrated, not the fact that all the things that he did with the peanut and all the things that you did. They say he helped Ford with developing the car, the automobile. Let's teach them that they was castrated. That's going to help black kids mental state, right? Is that the miseducation you're talking about?
Sir, proper education is what I'm talking about. And if you're telling a historical point of view that only makes you look good and makes us look bad, or have our contributions pale in comparison, or you don't tell the full story of what black people offered or contributed, and they don't properly see themselves, therefore they don't properly see the potential that they have, yes, that is miseducation, and that can create a poor mentality, right or wrong.
Okay, well then by that same logic, wouldn't it happen to white people?
Yes or no, sir? Right or wrong? Just answer the question first.
No,
right or
no,
wrong?
it could be, because that's not going to stop you from being. That's not going to stop you from being a learner. But what I'm saying is, you telling me you believe that every single white person that's invented something is being taught in school. Every white person who invented something, who contributed, is being taught in school.
Yeah, so you know he makes bad faith arguments. He's disingenuous. But now I try to warn Focus in advance because I already debated him. The Focus, I try to prep him mentally to deal with this guy and his bullshit like that. And Focus like, nah, I'm ready. And Focus losing his cool. So I didn't have an advantage. I didn't know he was this dumb and insincere. I learned on the fly. And I composed myself very well. And I was trying to prepare Focus. Like, listen, man, this dude is going to deny a lot of facts. I got it. And Focus is yelling, calling him a coon and Tom. I'm like, dude, that's not how you should do it. But we're going to conclude this one. We'll be, you know how we do. We're going to do a late live around, 11 o'clock, around there sometime, 11 p.m. Not this. We're going to do some wars. But tomorrow we're going to finish on this one right here. All right? Or because it's a long debate. So, but we're going to eat up some more of this tomorrow. But tonight we're going to focus on some wars. Your favorite guy right here. Okay? And we got some other folks. So anyway. Have a great night. Enjoy your Friday. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and in my Umar's voice, hit the Cash App. Peace.